Hey there, it's Phil from 15-Minute Guitar Practice. In this video, I'm going to show you a foolproof method of figuring out what scales or notes you can play over weird chords with no theory involved at all. So if theory kind of freaks you out or makes you uncomfortable, don't worry, this is going to be really simple. So weird chords, what do I mean by weird chords? Well, I mean chords that maybe you've contorted your fingers into some kind of crazy configuration, which sounds awesome, but it doesn't follow any of the things you're familiar with, like your standard root 6 and root 5 kind of bar chords. And also you might be doing something with the open strings, you might be, I don't know, whatever weirdness comes into your beautiful brain, this is a method that can help you. So I call it the BlindMan Method, but we're not going to really do anything apart from two things. One, we're going to use a pen and a pad. I'm going to draw up a bit of your fretboard and mark dots on it as we go through this process. And the second thing we're going to use is our knowledge of finding an octave of the note on the fretboard. Now, if you already know the 4 shapes to how to find an octave of a note on any string, then skip ahead right now. For the rest of you, I'll just do a quick recap. Okay, so first things first, if you take a note on, say, the 6th string or the 5th string, the way to find the octave is to take your note, let's say it's this one, and you move 2 strings down and then 2 frets up, and then you found the octave. That note is the same as that note, but an octave higher. Same thing with the 5th string. 2 strings down, 2 frets up. Now, for notes not on the 5th and the 6th string, you need to still go 2 strings down. Well, we're going to do this note. 2 strings down, but this time 3 frets up. So if it starts on the 4th string, it's 2 strings down, 3 frets up. Same on the 3rd string. 2 strings down, 3 frets up. Okay. So that one and that one are 2 most common ones you probably know. The 2 others are a little bit different, and they're more to do with the note being the other side of the root itself. So the first one is based off of a C, kind of open C shape. Now you all know an open C chord. All we do is take the middle finger out of that equation. Okay, take this one out of the way and just play the note on the 6th string and the note on the 2nd string, and you'll notice again there one note is an octave higher. That's the same note but just an octave higher. So you can also use that, and you can use that for notes starting again on the 5th string, notes starting on the 4th string. But if you need to find something on the 6th string, you also need to adjust that. So instead of going from here to there, which is not right, you need to basically increase your stretch by 1 fret. So if you've got a note here and you want to find the octave on the kind of left hand side as you look down on the fretboard of the note, you need to go 1, 2, 3 frets down and 1, 2, 3 strings down. So you get that. Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to get into figuring out what notes or scales we can play over weird chords. Here are my 2 weird chords. The first one is this one, and the second one is this one. Okay, so what are those? I'm playing 5 on E, nothing on A, 6 on the D, 6 on the G, 4 on the B, and an open E. And the other chord is very similar to that. I'm just playing 4 on the E, nothing on the A, 6 again on the D and the G strings, and then B and E, 2 open strings. Okay, so you can see it sounds quite nice. But your minor pentatonic is not going to help you here. So what do? Alright, so get your pen and your pad. If you haven't already, draw up your fretboard. What we're going to do is start with the notes that we've already got, okay? Because the scale is going to reflect the chord's going to reflect the scale. So you mark those ones in now. Let's start with just the first chord. So you want to mark in that one, the ones we've already talked about. Now I'm going to change the open E to a fretted E. So instead of playing open on the first string, I'm going to play it at the 5th fret on the second string. So there instead of there. So now we have this note, this note, this note, this note, which is in our chord, and this note, which is the open string. I've just moved to there. Great. All good so far. Next, we're going to use our octave technique to fill in the blanks and the double ups for this note here. So that note that can be found there and there, and using our C shape also there. So now we have this note, this note, this note, this note, this note, this note, and this note. Okay, so then what you do is just work through the rest of those notes, finding all the octave notes in there, and once you've got all that for the first chord, then you do the same for the second chord. And there's actually, because of my two chords are quite similar, there's actually not that much to add for the second chord. But then you end up with something that looks like this. And it's from here you can make your note choice. This is your, let's call it a synthetic scale, because it's a made up scale. It may resemble a scale from a mode that you may or may not know, but because we're not really going to deal with any theory, let's just stay clear of that. All you need to know is these notes will fit over your weird chords, and you can pick any of them. Some will sound better than others in certain places, but those are your choices. Okay, it doesn't really get any more complicated than that, apart from whereas before with a major chord, you'll know, okay, so the major scale will go over a major chord. You kind of had to sit down and work a few things out. But now you've got your choice of notes, now you really need to think about the note expression, and also, you know, still approach a melody or a solo from a point of playing your chords and singing it. Because you're likely to sing something that maps directly to the notes that you've already mapped out on your fretboard, because your ear will relate to the chord and your ear will find a melody, and that melody is almost guaranteed to be in between those notes you've already found. So So what do I do? Let's try and find this. And I went. So there's actually not much distance between those notes. So far I've used 3 notes. So definitely notes in our scale, and then it frees you up to sing your melody or work out something. I mean, I'd definitely recommend you sing something and then work it out where it is on your guitar, but now you know the notes are going to be within this kind of area of the fretboard. And then you're kind of working out the expression of those notes, whether you're going to kind of go slide in, you know, bending. So you've got your notes. Now when you build the solo, you've got to really focus on the note entry, the note exit, and the note expression. So entry and exit are really to do with, did you bend into it, did you slide into it, did you pull off into it, all those things. Same with note exit. And note expression is, how long did you spend hanging on that note? How many notes were there versus the space in between? You know, was it vibrato? All of those things that bring texture into just playing a note. You know, you can play a note like that. You can play a note like that. You can play a note like that. 2 notes. You can play again 2 notes. Heavy vibrato stuff, you know. No vibrato. Slide in. Big slide down. All of those things are available to you. Anyway, that's really a topic for another time. But there you have it, a way to find notes to create a scale, even though if you don't know what the chords are called, and even if you don't know what scale it is you end up with, you certainly have now the ability to go, okay, here are my collection of notes that I can now make a solo out of. And you will need to do a little bit of homework and a little bit of, you know, peck and hunt, figure out what sounds good when, but you have to do that anyway, whatever solo you're doing. Even if you knew it was a major chord and you played the major scale, you still need to find the bits that sound good over the chord. So now you've got to step up. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Please leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.